Okay, good day, everyone. My name is Gillette, your Gaza Media anchor. You're all welcome to this very special platform. We call it Gaza University, a platform of knowledge where we all get together to acquire knowledge, not with the aim of getting certificate as per se, but for our own self-development. So in today's program, we are going to be having a very special presentation. And the topic of discussion is going to be remember your past. You know, the past is very important because without the past, there can never be a present and the future as well. And this is one kind of topic that is very, very unique because it's not like those that you go easily to the internet and download information. But our guest speakers, they have done their best, believe me, to using their own initiative to come out with something that is of benefit to us. So we were supposed to have two guest speakers today, Mr. Njinken Kone and Madame Quetta Vivian, but for some technical reasons, we have not yet gotten to Kone, but believe me, before you know it, he will be with us. Madame Quetta, you are welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you very much. We thank you for giving us this opportunity to present. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Also, our past, looking at where we are now and how our past has influenced us, maybe in our character or to shape our future or to shape our character. So without wasting much of our time, I will just call on those who are here. Dr. Nkembele, please just go ahead and give us a clue. What do you think about the past? When you hear about the past, what comes into your mind?
Yeah, I think this is a very important topic because our past, some of us, we have gone through a lot. And a few weeks ago, I posted a picture on my status on WhatsApp, and it was saying about where most of us came from. And in this picture, you had 3 little boys with no shoes, and you know, the hair was on you know, comb, and I was just looking at myself. You know, some 35 years ago, I was not so different from these people, and I think that what some of us went through as little children and even growing up or reading with a lamb in grammar school, you know, when we started using the electricity, we didn't take that for granted. Or I remember when I was in Bambili and lights went off, that didn't mean so much to us because in Fontaine we didn't have electricity. So when light used to go off, we just continue reading, you know, normally. So again, our past definitely has a very, very important thing for us. And personally for me, I think it has made me stronger. And maybe if I had a softer past, I couldn't have maybe achieved what I've achieved today. You know, I think also how we were also taught about being respectful to one another has also been very, very influential in my own personal life. So again, our past has a lot of things to do with the way we, you know, we are able to deal with situations. We are not so emotional, and some of the things that we see, we have seen more, so we just, you know, don't react so much. So again, I will leave that for now. But again, I think that is a very important topic, and always reflecting to where you came from, and also maybe why not step back and help them is very, very important. Thank you so much for giving me the floor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nkembele, for that wonderful contribution. I believe that Madame Betanga is in the forum. Madame Betanga, are you there?
Yes, so I'm there.
Wow. What contribution can you give as regards remembering the past?
Well, Thank you for giving me the floor. Actually, remembering the past, our past is actually it has a major role to play in our life. Because when you look at where you came from some years behind and what we are today, you see that it's not everybody who succeeded. We had very difficult times back home, the many years gone. Times you have to, the distances we had to cover, the things we had to do, all in the name of struggling to succeed. I remember when we used to burn candles. You move from one place to another to struggle to read and to be sure that you, at the end of the day, you have something to go right home with on. You see, that's why so many people gave up along the line. So when you look at what you went through and the challenges we had today in life, I don't think I have any situation that I can just turn my back. I will just lie down and say, no, I will not be able to face it. No, because I already grew up in a way that I know that life is all about challenges. And you have to say, I can do it, and you do it. And the moment you make up your mind that you can do it, there is nothing that is above you. All those things are skills that we acquired long ago when we were still youth, when we were kids, when we were in our secondary school and at the adolescent stage of life. And there are things that some people do not even grab along the way. And people just will tend to think that life is as easy as they think. I realize that even with all these difficulties that we had, I used to sit and I look at my father. My father had, if you see what my father used to earn way back, he's almost a carpenter. You sit and you ask yourself, how did he manage to train all of us? And you see that, no. In those days, we only know that whatever you have, well, once you say you can do it, you will do it. And they were succeeding, and they all succeeded. So why not me? If what I even have today is far more than his own. So you see that it's only from what you gain from your past life that you realize that life is all about I can do it and I do it. So, and for now, that's the little I have.
Thank you so much for that wonderful contribution, Madam Betanga. Our production engineer, anything to add?
Well, thank you, Gillette, for that opportunity. This topic is, I believe, it's an elaborate topic. They say the past reshape the futures. Our past, in our own time, we recall our struggles. The struggles back in the days where we all started in 89, 90, where we will come back from school and go to the farm, go look for harvest, plums, mangoes, and what can you recall? Cocoyams. And then still come and do your homework. And the next days you're in school. And at the end, all those struggles, you did that with an objective. And it reshaped you, that you've known all those challenges. Those challenges were, at a time, we didn't even recall or realize that there were struggles. It's when you must have got to a level where we are now, we know that we took a task which was very challenging. And those are those paths that has reshaped us like this. We are today adults, husbands and wives, where we are in our past. We recall the time where we couldn't even speak to a girl, but we tried. But today, we are husband and wives. We have children. Because if we didn't try, we wouldn't have been where we are today, even though it wasn't easy. Those are all the challenges and the kind of areas I can call that what the past reshape your futures. Certain approaches, certain aspects of life you attempt, and it reshape you, it gave you courage. It narrowed your view of a life. And we took that as a challenge and we succeeded. And here we are today recalling those parts in a positive manner as a way of learning, as a way of sharing for others to know that those parts are not past you can undermine or think there were things you wouldn't have done. There were things that we needed to do to become who we are today. And it made us stronger. And I think we should be proud of ourselves today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nkeze, for that wonderful contribution. Mr. Director of Gaza Media.
Okay.
Any contribution to chip in?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, when I look at this topic, I want to look at it from a little bit practical approach to our practices, if I may want to say our indigenous knowledge system, the practice of our traditional knowledge system that we practice in the content, in our cultural context. Even though we may seem to think that it is our past, but it's the kind of knowledge that we still practice today. If you look at what we used to do when we were a little kid, I remember like I was at the age of 11/12 when I was able to live by myself. When I leave our own compound from Azi, then I have to stay in Minji to be able to go to school. Well, maybe I could not even, I did not even know how to cook. But if you look at today, the generation in a different context, say in the Western world, if you leave a kid who is 12 years old at home for a certain amount of time, that will be a violation of the law. So that is in their own cultural context. But now the question that I want to present to us is, when we were practicing our lifestyle during that time, looking at what is happening now, do we say, should we just adopt what is happening now, or do we go back to our indigenous knowledge system to compare to the modern knowledge system? So how do we fit into these two perspectives? What we practice in the past and what is happening right now. So this is a way that I think we'll be able to formulate and see how our practices have moved us to this point. Somebody may have said, we struggle, we were suffering. I wouldn't want to think that we suffer, because at that time, it wasn't any suffering, it was a norm that you have to read with a bush lamp or with a kerosene lamp. So it wasn't, at that time, it wasn't like somebody was suffering. It is only now that you look back, you think that, oh, that is suffering. No, it's not suffering. When you come back from school, I remember going to Azi every Friday to carry cocoyam, my food that I will eat over the week. On Sunday, like Julius is saying that you come back from school, you have to go to the farm, then have to come and do homework. Now you think that you were suffering. It's not suffering. That was just a traditional knowledge system that we were practicing, that maybe it is even still practiced today. But some other person in another cultural context, when they look at that, they will say that, oh, it's child abuse. You are forcing a kid to go to farm when it's not that age. So this is where the paradox, where we find ourselves, which sometimes may be very difficult to train our own children. If you want to use your traditional knowledge, what you experience, to what is happening right now. So I think that is a big challenge where we have to be able to navigate between the two. If you may give me another 30 seconds or 1 minute, even like some of the previous debate that we have done, if you look at the practice that we did back then, we didn't have this issue of even like, should women go to work or should wives go to work or stuff like that. because now we are living in a different era of the world. But if you still go back to our traditional cultural context, our villages, this may not even be happening. So these are some of the things that if we carry it forward, may not be the best idea, but at the same time, we cannot completely ignore our indigenous knowledge system. So that was just a little that I had to contribute. Thank you.
Okay.
Wow, that's a powerful one, Mr. Director. In fact, it has really opened up our knowledge. I think that he has really, like given us a way out of this topic. So if we try to look at it, what do we do? Now we are in the modern time. We have children, they are in this era. What do we do? Are we going to bring them up? Are we just going to allow them to navigate through their own modern times, or should we like blend? What do you think? Should we blend the two? Bring them some hardship also to blend to what their modern way of functioning is like. What do you think? Dr. Kembele, what do you think?
I think Mr. Ernest made a very, very good point there. And again, going back to your question, I think that we have to be able to, it depends where you are living, and they say that, as Mr. Julius said, the past shapes the future, but there's things that we did when we were 11 years old that now, an 11-year-old living in Yaoundé or Douala or in Boston or in France may not be able to do it. So I think that we can be able to blend the two and get, a positive thing from one, and then there are certain things that we did that, of course, we cannot, only an 18-year-old child may do it now. But again, we should be able to, get that experience and, get our kids, at least do something. But again, we cannot be able to go back to that time, as he said, because of the era and then the context in which that was practiced. So we cannot allow that to happen, because the context is, and the time also is different. So but that knowledge definitely help us and guide us to have the children now. Thank you. That's what I can say.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kembele. Mr. Nkeze, what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you reason in the same line with him?
Yeah, the key in it is that some of our practices in the past were because of the area we found ourselves, and we were obliged to carry on with those practices based on the area, based on where we are, based on what we call exposure. So the exposures matter. So that there are certain practices which we underwent truly because of because of our limitation. So we have come to a point now that in an area like, I would say, in the United States, laws surround us, and certain laws will not allow us to carry on those practices. But there are certain things we can also do. If we get ourselves or our kids if they have that opportunity to go through those practices, because I don't want to say struggles, but those practices which made us stronger, and call it practices which made us stronger, because we want to use those past and get the best practices from those past, which can better build our children or can better build the future of our families. Because not all those paths we took were paths which could have made not all of them made us stronger. Some we would have died along the way. So some those type of paths, you don't need to move forward with those paths. So you take those aspects which made us stronger and build on with it, introduce that to our children and move forward. So we can blend the two with those positive aspects, those positive experiences that we got, and move forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that powerful contribution.
Yes, Gilead, thank you so much for that opportunity. Thinking about our past, my past, and maybe the positive effect that actually has brought into our lifetime right up to where we are now, it's like, it's like miracle, the miracle of God. It's like the miracle of God to say, because actually, if I think of my past, I will say here that actually it has contributed a lot to where I am today. From my past, I learned to be a fighter, a positive fighter. That is to say, there is nothing that I cannot do. Yeah, there is nothing that I cannot do. And actually that helped me to enhance it down to my kids, to my junior ones, making them to understand that if we were to have just what they are having today, to share the opportunities they are having today in 100 parts, and we had just one of that part, actually I told them we'll be moving mountains. And thinking of the distances that we'll trek, thinking of us start cooking in our kitchen. At the age of maybe 7 and taking care of our young ones, it made us great mothers today. I became almost like a mother when I think I was not even up to 10, because I have to take care of my junior ones when my mom is away to the farm. I have to wash their dresses. I have to keep the compound clean and whatever that you can think about that a mother will do in the house. So because of that, it has helped me. I left no stone unturned when I became a mother. I do a lot. And I really have enhanced it onto my children to make them to understand that never you take advantage of what you are having around you right now with these modern times or whatever, because many children are getting spoiled because of what? This modernization, and make them to understand that hard times make you more tougher to encounter, situations and solve problems that you never believed that you could do them. And I will tell you, mates, even seeing your faces today, we just believe that it is because of where we are coming from, not because of maybe any modernization. And if we can put that together, plus what we are having now, I believe there is nothing we cannot do. Where we came from, what we went through, if we put it together now with this modern time, actually, I believe will always be a success. There is nothing that can hold us back. Thank you. I don't know if I was talking that right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a powerful contribution.
I'm so sorry I'm not seeing you guys again.
Yeah.
No, we appreciate your contribution.
That was a good one.
Mr. Chufo.
Yeah, we are there trying to see what we can do with respect to the epileptic internet. So sorry for if the quality is not the best. But I think I have been following keenly everyone. Am I coming out clear?
Yes, we are getting you 5 on 5.
I've been following every member and every contribution. And, I don't know because I keep having a pass up to yesterday. But let me go back to the past of the GVHS, whereby some of us, I know everybody trekked. but we trek the furthest distances to come to school. Yeah, I can remember my first day leaving home to come to GSS. Then at that time, I had to sleep on the way because the distance was too far. And
And maybe you were too short too.
So I know.
Yeah, that is
Go ahead, Mr. Chupo. Sorry for that.
No, we are all together. That's something that has always given me a strength. And most especially because within that period, we were trekking and we were about 30 in number. We always leave home together and we'll get to Fontaine. Those that were going to Seed of Wisdom will go. Those that were going to Nchembin will go, and I will come to GSS then. But that period, something happened, and before we wrote the O levels, we left 3 of us.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 of us. Every other person dropped because at that time there was a lot of money back home. There's a lot of money back home, and that is how I started, you know. But I would still get home alone. During the rainy season, cross all the rivers, you can count them, to get to Minji. And that kept me, the spirit, as somebody said, never give up. I never gave up. When I was writing the advanced level, I was alone. I can imagine I always leave home alone. If I cannot go, somebody will accompany me until when they reach around, I don't know, I don't forget some of those names. Then they can go back home and I will continue all alone. So to me, that has been a very difficult period, and it has made me strong. I cannot mention that when I come back, as every other person, I will go to Chimbin to fetch firewood. I will go to Nchenela to find firewood. And I was who could climb a tree and cut the branches and carry back home. So those are things that today we cannot mention because the memories we are today, great memories. That's what it's unimaginable. I always keep asking myself whether even if today they were to turn back the hands of time and I rewind the clock, I might be able to do that again and do it again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I keep reminding my children, I keep reminding my relatives. I've never seen them reading with their legs under the table in water. Those are things we did to show how committed at that time. We didn't know where we were going to, but we believed in ourselves. And that has made me who I am today. My past kept after that. After I finished with university, my first job was in the private sector. I leave my house at 4:30 in Cameroon. Nobody will believe it. And I come back at 9 p.m. It's not yet over. So I think the strength I gathered during that period continued even in my professional life thereafter. And today, I can be proud that all I had and where I am now is because I went through all those, I don't know what to call them, trials, all that period, which to me, it was someone say, it was just a stage in life. But if you, if you put your children on that stage today, they will sue you in court. I don't know how they're going to do that today. I don't know, but I want to believe that it contributed enormously to who I am today. And I keep pushing that spirit. But as you still said, there's nothing I cannot do right now. If I can work in plantation for 8 years, even after the university, I come back home at 9 p.m. It's not over until I'm sure that my container has left for Douala Port because I was producing for exportation. Anything happens tomorrow, they'll come back to your parking station. And you know, the story is like you have done just nothing for the past 3 years. So to me, that is how we have gone through all together. You know, I cannot mention all the other parts. It's going to be a very long story, but I think the past to me has contributed enormously. And I don't want to believe that the successes we are recording today, the position some of us are leading today, is because we are highly educated. No, it is because we went through a period whereby you needed to do everything you could do to survive and to be able to lead. And that has made us who we are today. So, dear colleagues, dear mates, that is it I can contribute for now. I think as we move along, any other positive and observation or remark that comes up, I might be able to come back. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nchofo, for that wonderful experience you have shared with us. I don't know whether Mr. Foka can then continue from where he stopped because we lost him somewhere along the line.
Yes.
Mr. Foka.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank the media department. You were really following up, as you said. As I will still say, though others have almost said everything, what we passed through kept us working as Spartans. Thank God that we are up to date, we're up to the expectation. And I will still come back to say, we should always sit down and recall our children what we went through to be what we are today. Even though they can't do it, but they should know that we passed through difficulties, needles, all kind of suffering to be what we are today, so that some of them should be able to know how we have worked to be parents today. Coming back again, we look at what Mr. Nchofa just said. At times, we used to go for weekend. On our way back, the rivers are full. Rain must have fallen somewhere. You will come and stand beside the way, watching, you look how small you are. 12, 13 years, you cannot cross because the level of the river is compared to your height. We used to remain beside the river for more than 3 hours. Parents coming back from the farm will come and cross us. So,
Vicky, my dear collaborator, can you give us your own contribution?
Well, thank you, Gillette. So as the little I can say is that I did my part of my primary education in Fontem in Kali School, Minji. And I continued to GSS Fontem at that time. And I left again in Form 3. So I can just remember vividly very little of what happened during that period. But I know, as some of us have said, we used to trek from Minji to GSS Fontem, and and if you compare that to, you compare it to our children of today, they never had that experience. Today, if you tell them to trek that even a short distance, they will not be able, because you know the Android will have come, and all those things that we did. To me, I feel that we lived a life which, to me, I feel fulfilled with the life I lived. Because today, all the things that we did in those days, you don't find them again. You could interact with your male friends even at the age of 14, 15 without being ashamed. We used to have general sports. You could interact easily. But today, you see those little boys and girls, they cannot interact like what we did in those days. You see them already feeling big. So I feel that the way we lived our life in those days have greatly helped us to be what we are today. Because the children of today, they know things so fast that I don't think, to me, I feel that the way we lived has helped us a lot. Because since we were like innocent of the things the children of today know, it helped us to focus on our book work. And that is why most of us today have succeeded. I remember like when I was in Kali School, Minji, as somebody has said here, we used to trek on distant journeys to go for matches in places like in Chemfem, Azi, and so on. But today you don't find those things. At night, we'll be out there, even in our secondary school life. We play out there at night with our opposite sex without having any, how can I put it? But today, all those things don't exist again. So to me, I feel that the life we live in those days as compared to today is a life that I feel like if they could rewind the clock for our children to experience that life, it would have been better for them than the life they are living today. Thank you. That is the little I have to chip in.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Thank you. Okay, I will also chip in my own contribution. To me, when I look at the past, in short, you have shared almost everything that I had in mind, but I still have my own little to contribute. When I look at the past, I see strict discipline. I mean, strict discipline in the hands of my parents, in the hands of, school administrators, which has made me what I am today. Telling you, you are not supposed to do this. This is what you are supposed to do. And making sure that that is what you must respect. That is what has made me to be what I am today, because many people, many of my friends, they are like, if they usually come to visit me, but it is hard for me to go and visit somebody. I can only leave from my home and visit somebody, maybe where if the person is sick also, I can't just sit and say, let me go and visit this person. It is what they gave me as discipline from my little age. So you see, under that kind of strict discipline, so I look at my hardship too, and I see how it has shaped me, made me stronger, as our friends rightly said. They make us to be fighters, to be resilient people. In fact, so yes, I'm telling you. So when I look at all of this, looking at myself as a little girl, frying my egg and eating gari, who can think of that meal? Sometimes today I still, in fact, when it comes to my memory, I cook it and give to my children. I said, this is what we used to eat back then when we were in school. They say, oh, mommy, this, but it tastes really good. I said, but that's what we were eating. We didn't plan to eat it, but that is what we had at that time. So looking at the past again, if we want to recount all what our friends have said, all these past stories, they are meant not to discourage anybody. They are meant to motivate, if I look at it. Because if we look at them, drawing all the lessons that we can draw from going through hardship, going through tough times, discipline, and so on, it is meant to encourage somebody. Like, for example, if we just put it to our own children, if we inculcate those same measures, not all anyway, because if you want to inculcate all, they might sue you, as Mr. Chofo rightly said. You just do what you are able to do. You put the children under discipline, you subject them under discipline. And subjecting them under discipline, just as we went through, at that time, back then, I thought that my parents hated me. I thought that the school administrators, they do not like us. They don't like our progress, because every child wants to explore. You want to explore everything that you see your fellow friends doing. And anybody who wants to tell you that, no, you are not supposed to do this, you look at it as that is like a stumbling block for you. It's like blocking you from getting to where your peers are. But it is when I grew of age that I finally discovered that that was great help that my parents gave me back then. Because if they allowed me to grow loose, maybe I don't know what would have happened. Maybe I would have gotten pregnant along the line. Maybe I would have gone astray. But yeah,
I just want to say that Mr. Corner is online now. So I don't know if...
No problem. We will come to him. We'll come to him. Let me just finish what I was saying. So all of that is just, for me, the lesson I can learn there is that we should try to also inculcate the same disciplinary measures upon our children. Even though if you want to submit them under that discipline, they will feel as if, oh, mommy is too strict. Look at my friends. They are doing this, they are doing that, and I am not doing it. It means my dad doesn't like me, my mom doesn't like me. But in the long run, they are going to understand that it was in their own interest, just as we today. We are looking at it now and we are enjoying it. We are telling the stories now and we are laughing. But back then, we were like, oh, what are we going through? What is this?
Go back.
Why are these people making us to go through this? I will just tell you a little story about myself I almost gave up my life when I was in teacher training. When I left, when I passed my advanced level, I had to spend 1 year in Gensa teaching there at a salary of 8,000 francs, dear friends. You cannot imagine.
You are correct.
8,000 francs.
Yeah.
At the end of the month, they will count 1,000 francs and put in my hand. That is what I have to spend on. 8,000 francs. But then I had to do it because staying at home with your mother, you will be fighting over soap, you will be fighting over this or that. You want to buy breastwear, mommy this, and you will be having conflict over nothing. I had to do it and gather some little means so that I can also write a concours. If I have to be a teacher, let me at least go to teacher training. And that is how I went in to teacher training. It came a turning point where I did all my exams, I passed, but we had to register for the final exam. But because of 10,000 francs, dear friends, 10,000 francs, I didn't have to register for the final exam. I had to travel back to Fontem to see my parents. Please, I need 10,000 francs. My father looked for 5,000 francs, which is just an amount to pay my transport back to Buea. Now, what am I, if I pay transport with 5,000 francs to Buea, what am I going to do back then? The thing was troubling me. I started crying and crying. A neighbor saw me. What's the problem? I explained. Come. He removed 10,000 francs and showed me. But told me, I mean, a man that is old enough to be my father, that if I could live with him before he will give me that 10,000 francs. I looked at him. I said, but Pa, this is your own daughter. I mean, I taught your child in GS, in Gensa there, and she calls me Miss Gillett. Does it not mean anything to you? Please, just give me this amount. I promise you, after I graduate, I know that I can never attend any interview and I fail it. I know that, I promise you that when I have my job, the first salary, I will give you back this money. He said, no way. I begged him, I did everything. I said, sleeping with me is like sleeping with your own daughter. What does it? So if I really climb on the bed and say, sleep with me, will you really feel as to? He said, why not? Wonderful. I cried my eyes out. In short, I jumped out of the house. I prayed to God. I said, God, wherever I am going, if my life ends anywhere, I should just end it there. Because I don't see any reason why I'm going to Buea. What for? What will I be doing in Buea? With 5,000, my friends are writing the final exams and I am not. As I was moving along the way and weeping. Fortunately for me, God is always very, very, God works in so miraculous ways. I met this, I don't know whether you know Johnson Alechendem, the elder brother. He met me on the way. And as a little girl, I was characterized by always smiling. Before you say Gilead, you always see a beautiful smile. But that day he called me, I was weeping. He stopped and said, but Gilead, what seemed to be the problem? I said, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to end. He said, where are you going? I said, I don't know where I am going. As I'm moving like this, anywhere that I end. If I jump into River Bogo, that will be the end of me. In fact, my parents say they don't have money to give me to write my final exam. I'm sure that by the time I will die, they will have money to buy coffin or whatsoever. That will please them. He held me by the hand and took me to a nearby shop, bought a matter and gave me and said, my dear, please calm down. How can I calm down? I said, I cannot calm down. I don't even know where I'm going to. He removed 10,000 francs from his pocket and gave it to me. When I saw that 10,000 francs, I jumped up, knelt down. In short, I used my tears to wash his feet and say, brother, I don't know whether you know what you have done to me. This 10,000 francs is to me like 10 million. Or should I say 10 billion? I prayed all kinds of prayers in the bar. People were looking at me like some girl that was like mad. But I prayed and prayed and said, I got up. He said, this 10,000 francs like this. My father sent me to go and buy chemicals to spray cocoa. But the way that I see you, I cannot allow you like this. Just take it. I took. Goodness. That was how I was able to go back to Buea and take my final exam. Dear friends, this was the turning point in my life. That is what made me, to have a different perception about life. To tell you the truth, even after I had the money and I wanted to give him, I have never set my eyes on him till today. I have looked for him. And finally, I just discovered that I just have to return that favor to another person who is in trouble. So I vowed upon my life that I will never see somebody who wants to study, who desires to study, and I will not go to to extreme just to take that person out of that level. So there are situations in life that really shape our destiny. And if I look at it now as we are parents today, I will just say that if your child really cries about something, don't ignore it, especially when it has to do with something that is really important as education. Don't ignore it, because when I look at how my father and my mom, they reacted, they didn't go an extra mile to say, let me go and borrow before they did not have. My father just said, take this 5,000, that's what I have. My mom said, I don't have money. What I judged as a little girl at that time, I knew that my father was expecting that my mother should be the one to give. And my mother was expecting that my father should be the one to give. So and in the final analysis, who is going to be the loser? It's me. So I saw it was not really funny to me. So I really, all of those, tried now to play a lot to shape my character, knowing that it is good to help, not helping somebody because the person is a member of your family. No, it's not. It doesn't interest me because that uncle helped me not because he just knew me like someone in school. He knew me like just a child in school. He didn't help me because I'm from their family or I'm his friend or something. So it really played a great role in my life to know that if I have to help somebody, it should not, the tribe, the religion, the color of the person should not influence me. If I have the capacity at that time to help, I should just go down and help. So thank you so much. Sorry for taking too much of your time.
It's all right, Gillette.
Madame Gillette. Madame Gillette?
Yes?
Please, sorry for coming in without permission. If I might say something.
Yes, go ahead.
I believe you are really, I'm sure you are a proprietress, of course. Are you getting me? Are you getting me?
Yes, I am getting you. I'm getting you.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And what will happen in your school if your kids or your people do not pay their fees, those of class 6 up to the expectation? Will they write the first school or they won't write as a proprietress of a school?
Oh, Mr. Foka, you are very, very correct in that question. No, as whether I would call it owner of school, I always have that charity aspect of it. If you are like an orphan and you don't have, so somebody cannot have money and refuse to pay and you take it easy with a person. No, I try to, do those acts of charity when it has to do, somebody with orphan cannot be paying the same school fee with somebody who is, viable. No. So I always do that charity part of it. Just if somebody should just come to me and cry that, please, things are really hard. They are really, really hard. I just admit you and I put you there. As they are studying, I think that it's okay.
Looking at it, you analyze it as, but let's analyze your own and see the way it is. It is also an advice for each of us, the parent, to know that whatsoever you have with your wife, being a problem, divorce or not, it has nothing to do with the child. You can sponsor your child up to the expectation if your wife does not want to provide. A mother can take the bull by the horns and send the children wherever they are going, regardless of the father of the child. Never we carry any grievances from our marital problems to our children. The day you were marrying a woman, you never see the child before. You got married to her and the child came as a benefit of what you were doing as a joke overnight. Thank you, people.
Ms. Gillette, can I say a word?
Yes,
one second, please. I will not take much time. Please, I will not take much time. I just want to say here, please, let me just say something. Especially with those of you who are still back at home, I will make you guys to understand you have a wonderful advantage to educate your children, to continue to instill those morals in them. Why am I saying so? It is not long I relocated to the USA, and I will honestly tell you people, you guys here, that having my children back home and growing them back home to a certain age, it is a wonderful advantage. I want to tell you guys something. As a teacher back home, I did not see any reason why I have to send my child to either of any boarding school. Going back to our life, as we went to a government school, I will tell you guys, it's a wonderful place to be. That is where all aspects in you were built up. A government school, as I come to understand about a government school teacher has nothing to do with whatever you think it is money or by giving you a mark in order to send you ahead. With my children, what I did was that when we were back home, I make all of them to attend government schools around me. I was in Kumba, and I make sure they were all in Cass Kumba. I told my husband, he wanted our first one to go to maybe Seat of Wisdom College because it came out from there. I said, no, sir, I'm the boss right now. Our child has to go to the government school. We have to watch him as he leaves the house and he's come back. We have to follow him up because I believe that in Kaskumba, nobody look on your face to see whether you are a child of a minister. You must make that exams. And to be honest with you, our past going to government school, I will tell you people, I will never regret it. It is a wonderful build up. Make sure your child, because you send your child to some of this private school, a child coming back after some 1-2 years is more a stranger than your own child. Because when that child come back for holidays, you have that child just for 2 weeks, the child is back. They come back for 10 holidays, you have them just a very short time. And there are some of these children, I bet you, they will not be able to warm water for people to take breakfast. They will not be able to take care even of themselves. When they go there, what they do is that they have some friends that the influence upon them, my dear friends, you'll never be able to break them. Keep your children. When my first son was going to the university, I said, you know what? From nursery school up to high school, I believe you have gotten enough of what you are supposed to. Therefore, I am sending you out now to the world. Anything you go to do, don't say that you did not learn enough back from home. It is an advantage. I saw it on me that it is wonderful when you keep your children around you where you watch them come in. Like you are talking about children now, you know, they learn a lot from their friends more than even you. But you, when they are back home in the day school, you tend to know who the friends are and the family that they are relating with. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Thank you, Christine. Connor, you have the microphone.
Yeah, please. Sorry, I came a little bit late. Please, we went out and our car got a problem, so I came late. Am I still invited to present what I was supposed to? I joined late.
Go ahead. Go.
Our past late. So on this topic, remember our past, I got a summary of some points that when remembering our past, in the first place, I think about education that we got. This education, we think about the famous GPHS concept in the good old days, 89-90, where we studied. Taking into account this education aspect, we think of that period. This period was characterized by the fact that there was no, we had little or no textbooks. We have no internet. There were no computers to do a lot of research. But what was important about the whole system, what was important about this period was that we could organize ourselves in different quarters where we into study groups. With these study groups, the students who could understand enough could better drill the others and help them to the point that they could also write and pass their exams. So with the educational aspect that we got, even though we never had a lot of tools, we never got a lot of materials where we could better organize ourselves and study together. Think about the past again. One of the issues is that the area that we even study in was characterized with a lot of Christianity, my brothers and sisters. Menji, we think about Menji parish. We think about the cadet case in church, Papa Fobe. We think about the Reverend Father, Father Joseph, Father John. We did a lot of Christianity. We went to the church, we were baptized. We think about the Foklari movement. We were involved in a lot of life groups and a lot of life activities. we were also affiliated, some of us were also affiliated with the Folklore movement about what our parents also trained us in. I remember during the holidays, we used to go cultivate, we used to go clear the forest. We used to rake the grass, burn it. We used to cultivate it. We used to plant cocoyams. We used to weed the cocoyams and gather the grass around it and even mulch it in order to harvest it and carry it to the market for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kone.
Thank you so much, Kone. I think on that note, I think everybody has already spoken and given his or her contribution.
So said something, which I thought I should just talked about it also, which is
okay.
All our past, what we went through. It is important to share it to our kids. Let them know, and let it not be like they go and hear it somewhere. I will just take a personal experience for me, which happened to me. My son went to school, and the teacher was talking about Africa, that in Africa, they have people who go to fetch water and carry water in their heads. So, to him, it was like, oh, it is unbelievable. So when he came home and was telling me this, it to him was like strange. He was telling me this. I said, oh, my boy, that is what I did. That is what I went through. So if I had told him all this before, it wouldn't have been strange to him. So all these experiences that we went through, the tough times and stuff like that, let's share it to our children, and it will also, even if they don't go through, it wouldn't be strange to them. That's the little I had to say.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Director.
Yeah, let me just give a brief, maybe last word before you can conclude. Kone, I want to thank you for finally trying to join in. I think Vivian has been struggling, but unfortunately, the connectivity does not permit you. It's not your fault. We appreciate both of you for, putting in the energy, even though you were not here, but at least just for us having the topic, we are able to elaborate more. I think conclusively, we may want to conclude that we stand now as a selective permeable membrane that will select what knowledge we pass on to our children. The knowledge that we acquire during that time, and some of that are not applicable, we eliminate those ones. We stand now as, because there's a ton of activity that we did at that time. Justine has explained, every person have a special experience. There are core value that we need to transmit to our children. There are certain things that we cannot transmit. You cannot say because you carry water in your head, your child now should go and carry water. That's not what we're saying. So we will selectively, the knowledge that will pass on, the core value that will pass on to our children. So I think from there, I want to thank you again. This topic, we've learned.
Much, Mr. Jinken, for struggling to meet up with the program despite the fact that you came late. I want to thank everyone for their participation. It was wonderful. Despite the fact that our guest speakers were not there, we tried our best to figure out what we could figure out, and we have learned a lot. And what to take home, as the director rightly said, is to blend the two. We should not allow our children to just enjoy. If you allow the children to go. So I want to thank everyone for coming, thank everyone for participating. Your contributions have gone a long way to make this program a great success. Thank you so much for coming, and I wish you a very great week ahead. Have a nice day.